Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my 2014 NFL Draft Team Needs Analysis, and this video is for the Miami Dolphins, who finished 8-8 in 2013. Obviously, two things became the highlight of their season. Number one, first and foremost, that Jonathan Martin, Richie Incognito mess that led to problems off the field and on the field, which I'll get to in a second, and the way they finished the season, losing the last two games in the fashion they did, only scoring 7 points total in those two games when they were still very much alive for that final wild card spot in the AFC. And I think the offensive line play on the field I thought was going to be a problem coming into the year. And never mind when you lose Incognito and Martin, two starters on that offensive line, you had a Dolphins team that averaged less than 20 points per game on the season, and also a Dolphins team that let up an NFL high 58 sacks. And when that's the case, obviously the glaring need on your team is that offensive line. And outside of really Mike Pouncey, I think anyone on this offensive line can really be replaced and be an upgrade. Obviously, the Tyson Clabo experiment did not work. They tried to patchwork that tackle spot, and it backfired. The whole Jonathan Martin Incognito thing, I would be surprised if either of those guys play for the Dolphins again. So there's a need at guard and a need at tackle. To me, both tackle spots. And maybe you can get away with starting John Jerry again next year. So at minimum, one guard spot to go along with Mike Pouncey. And if you listen to this channel, in the last year, I really said that I thought they were making a huge mistake letting Jake Long walk and not having a solid offensive line in place for Ryan Tannehill coming into the season. So you can imagine how I feel now with all that's unfolded with this offensive line throughout the year. So offensive guard, offensive tackle, the best player available at those two positions should really be what the Dolphins focus on in my mind early in this draft, especially as they develop Tannehill. And then another need I see for the Dolphins is at running back. Now, you don't know how much of the inconsistent running back play was due to that offensive line, but I think in Lamar Miller and Daniel Thomas, you have a nice number two, a combination of a number two back. I think they can move on from one of those guys. I would prefer to keep Lamar Miller. I think a lot of Dolphins fans would, and try to get a guy, another running back to sort of go alongside. And they need a difference maker in that backfield. I saw two guys that can get the job done at time in spurts, but no real difference maker back there. So that would probably be my third area of concern for the Dolphins. And a fourth area to look at, someplace where they might try to build depth in the mid-rounds here. Soliai and Randy Starks are both free agents. So what do they unrestricted free agents? So what do they decide to do with those two defensive tackles? They'll probably keep one and let another one go. And that'll definitely be an area then. Well, they'll probably plug it up with some veterans or some guys that are already in their rotation, but maybe worth trying to get that position a little younger because both those guys are 30 years old. So if there's an area of concern on the defensive side of the ball, that's certainly where I see it. Other than that, this team is pretty well stocked with talent. I mean, you look at the receiver position. They found a nice tight end, it looks like, in Charles Clay, he was a little bit of a revelation this year and had a very good season. So, again, on the offensive line, guard and tackle, the running back position to me needs to be upgraded. Again, the guys they have there are not bad, but to me, they're not real difference-making kind of backs. And then on the defensive side of the ball, let's see how that defensive tackle situation sort of unfolds with Soliai and Starks. Guys, let me know what you think. What do you think of the Dolphins' needs heading into the NFL draft? Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Always talking the NFL on there. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, guys. I'm doing these videos for all 32 NFL teams. I'm covering the playoffs wall to wall and just overall, the NFL 365 days a year here on my YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.